I'm splitting Pride into two videos because would you believe me if I told you that Peter met my friends and I met Peter's friends in the same weekend? Pride, not exactly Pride weekend. Was it Pride weekend? Yeah, it was last weekend of June. So we're gonna fast forward. And this part one, we're going to talk about me meeting Peter's friends. And then in the next video, I'll talk about Peter meeting my friends. And remember that I had manifested, that I had prayed for just one Pride with a boyfriend. And I got it. Looks can be deceiving, pictures, etc. can be deceiving, but you know what? I got my Pride. So I believe it was Saturday afternoon, evening. Both occurrences took place at Dolores Park, right? Favorite place in the world. And so we met up with Peter's friends, with the chicas, Saturday afternoon, evening. Now, I knew that as he described it, Peter's favorite, we're gonna call her Miley. I knew that Miley was his favorite. There's Miley, there's Glenda, and there's Tamara. Okay, those three names will come back up. And this is when I met them. I had only kind of heard of them. For all intents and purposes, I thought it went well. Here's how I'm gonna describe how things went. So again, bearing in mind that Miley is his favorite, in his words, they know that she's the prettiest, and they know that she's my favorite, and they know that we have our special friendship and relationship, and they just have to deal with it. Sorry, that's Peter's own words. So at one point, Miley wants to get some alcohol. And it's Pride weekend, so there's a bunch of vendors at Dolores Park. So we run over, we find somebody, sells her a couple shots of tequila. I am holding one of the shots, and then I remember we're like running back to the group, and Peter's giving me the weirdest look because he knows that I don't drink. And then it becomes very obvious that no, I'm helping Miley carry her alcohol. The shot is in fact for her. And if y'all haven't noticed, I have a hard time staying still. I like to dance. So just because I don't drink doesn't mean that I don't like to go and be active. So at one point, I'm like, y'all, who wants to go dance? The only person who took me up on that was Miley. So you know what? I grabbed Miley. We went over to the front. We pushed our way. Well, I did. And then I brought her with me. Pushed my way through everybody because I like to be at the front where I can breathe and move my arms around a little bit. And we just started dancing because it's Pride and we're supposed to dance and we're having a lot of fun and it's amazing. And yeah, I mean, it's Dolores Park. It's a beautiful day, right? So apparently that was like a really good move on my end because Peter told me several times afterwards how Miley like told that to everybody. I guess dropped it in the group chat and was like super excited about how Peter's boyfriend like pushed the way through everybody so that we could dance at Pride at Dolores Park. And so I thought that things for all intents and purposes went well. I'm gonna just be completely honest. I felt like Tamara was kind of suspicious of me, was kind of quiet again, could just be reading into it. I do know that Peter did not like Tamara's boyfriend, we're gonna call him Max. Did not like that guy. Glenda and me, like we talked in Spanish a few times. So we had kind of like that in common. And so that's kind of how things went. As far as I was concerned, I thought I made a good impression on his friends. We were all happy. That was Pride weekend, Saturday with his friends. Things get a little bit more spicy with my friends, and actually I should say with my group because not everybody present is a friend of mine. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The only other thing that I'm gonna add before I hop onto the next part 2 of Pride weekend is that The reason why I jumped over here and kind of looking back at our relationship was that given that this was round 2 that we were trying again after breaking up, we kept our relationship somewhat hidden for a little bit. And so it kind of was a big deal that we decided for Pride weekend to like introduce each other to each other's friends. Because, for example, our birthdays are only a month apart. His birthday's middle of April, my birthday's middle of May. So we did very private birthdays this year, just us, and not included our friends intentionally because we were like slowly leading our friends back in. And then I'll be on, I will say this, is that he had some trauma around his ex-boyfriend kind of, actually, if I remember the story correctly, Peter stole his ex-boyfriend's friends. Again, those are his words, or he became friends with, right? And there was a little bit of, that was like kind of the hesitancy around introducing each other. I didn't have a problem with it, but I remember he had an issue. He had a little bit of hesitancy around introducing me to his friends because of what had happened before. Interesting. Just interesting how I'm making those connections now. Now, of course, I've thought about it before. But again, I thought that it went well. Remember all those names because they will all absolutely come up. Again, these are Peter's San Francisco girlies. So a little bit later, when we take our trip to Chicago, I meet more of his Midwestern college friend girlies, okay? And I'll just throw this out there for whatever it means. Another thing that I feel that we definitely had in common, Peter and I, was that we're the type of gays, I was gonna say it is what it is, that we have a lot of girlfriends. We don't really have a lot of gay guy friends. I know that there's a lot of, that's not me. I did try that. I'm more of an independent person, and then I got my girls sometimes, but you know what, usually it's me, you know? Anyway. Let's talk about Pride Weekend Part 2, when Peter met my friends and my circle and some of the people who I went to high school with.